Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the multicolored cards, all the artifacts, and all the lands in Dominaria.
It's the last of the series, so you should know what we're doing. But just in case, we're gonna evaluate them for limited, like draft or sealed, like your upcoming pre-release, where you get 6 boosters and 2 promos.
Yeah, we're going to be evaluating these cards according to our 3-tiered system. Tier 1s, these are our bombs, our unconditional removal. These cards win games. Tier 2, these are really good. These are auto-includes if you're already in that color, otherwise push you in that color. And the Tier 3 are our filler cards. Make sure we have a nice, smooth mana curve. The rest of the cards are too situational or just plain bad, so we're going to put those aside. And let's have a look at the common cards.
Our first common is Short Sword. It's a 1 mana artifact equipment, and equipped creature get +1/+1 and equipment cost of 1. Put aside, it's not really worth for that 1 mana, for 1 power and toughness to include it.
No, but I must say, as far as my imagining of what a short sword would do in this game, I think is perfectly costed and very flavorful.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. It's just that extra boost.
Yeah, but don't play it. Then we have Blood Tallow Candle for a single mana. It's an artifact, and we can pay 6, tap it, and sacrifices to give target creature -5/-5 till the end of turn. Now you may think, 7 mana for removal, very expensive. It's pretty much unconditional removal for any color, which means it's tier 3. It's better than a combat trick, so it may seem steep, but it will get you out of sticky situations, so you can play it. It's a filler card. Yeah, it takes a spot off your removal.
Yeah, if you don't have removal, then you're looking at this.
Yeah.
Next one, Spowing Construct. 1 mana, Artifact Construct. It's a 1/1 when Spowing Construct. When Spowing Construct dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It's a 1/1. It will die. It will give you something else, a boost. I don't really like it. Just put it aside.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too little.
Yeah, I do like the flavor though. When you defeat the construct, you get stronger.
Yeah, but I don't like the flavor because when somebody else defeats your construct, because it's going to be in combat, then some other guy gets better. That makes no sense to me. Anyway, Navigator's Compass for a single mana. It's an artifact, and when it enters the battlefield, we're going to gain 3 life. And we can tap it, and then until the end of turn, target land you control becomes a basic land type of the choice of your, in addition to its other types. So, yeah, if you're going really greedy when it comes to different kinds of colors, then that's nice because this one allows you to, turn that green mana into blue mana if you might need something like that. So that is handy, but if we're going to be playing 2 colors, which is what we recommend, then this is not going to be necessary. So
yeah,
put it aside.
You just shouldn't play it. It would be nice if it would mana ramps you, but it doesn't.
No.
Jousting Lance. 2 mana, artifact equipment. Equipped creature get +2/+0. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature get first strike. And for 3 mana, you can equip it. +2/+0 and first strike is really good. It's only on attacking, but still that means like your 2-drop will be a 4/2 attacking first striker, and that's what you want. So tier 3, it's a pretty good equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And I love, once again, the flavor of this one is perfect. It's exactly what I would imagine a lance to do. It boosts your power, but not your toughness, and it only really works when you're charging into your enemy. So perfect flavor win on that one. Voltaic Servant is next. For 2 mana, it's a 1/3 artifact creature, so the body's fine already. You can just include it. And additionally, at the beginning of your end step, untap target artifact. Okay, so even if you've got no other artifacts, then still this guy can attack. You tap it, you attack, and then at the beginning of your end step, you can untap itself to give it pseudo vigilance, which is super nice. And of course, if you've got other artifact things, it only becomes better, and the body is already filler. So that is a great deal right there. Tier 3, I think it's a good slot for your 2-drop.
Yeah, it is. Everyone can play it, so that's nice. Power Stone Shot. 3 mana artifact. Tap to add colorless for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shot. We'll probably only have 1, so it taps from 1 colorless, and that's not really what we want to be doing, so put it aside.
Yeah, it's another one of those examples that only when you're playing in a deck that's really truly focusing on ramping into your heavy bombs, then it's okay. But most of the scenarios, it's just you'd rather just have a creature.
Exactly.
Skittering Surveyor for 3. It's a 1/2 construct. And when this guy enters the battlefield, we may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into our hand, and then shuffle our library. Okay, so it doesn't mana ramp us, but it will mana fix us. It does have a tiny little body, and it does come in on the point of the game where I think it's still relevant to be looking for those lands. So yeah, unlike the Power Stone Shard, which does not fix us in color, this one does not ramp us, but it does allow us to get exactly the colors we need. So I think that's a little more relevant, and most importantly, it does have a body as well.
Yeah, like we were talking about before, like the mana ramping, it's not really that nice on turn 3, but this one has a body, and that's important because also the green one we see also 3 mana, and we didn't really like this one, but it's really important to have that body.
Yeah.
Even if the body is like kind of bad, but it still does
still
something.
a body. It still does something. Yeah.
Esther
Glider. Okay.
Esther Glider. Something like that. 3 mana, 2/1 artifact creature. It's a bird construct with flying, and Esther Glider can't block. You want to be attacking with it anyways. I don't like my 2/1s, but it does damage in the air, and anyone can play it. So you're playing green, you don't have any flyers, you can still play this one.
Yeah, and I don't think that 2/1 flyers are that bad. I think 2/1 creatures that are just walkies, those are much worse. The fact that it's flying, if they don't have a flyer, it doesn't matter. It's only got 1 toughness because they won't be able to block it anyway. And being able to do 2 damage is actually substantial. Then we go to Guardians of Colorless for 5 mana. We get a 4/4, so right there off the bat, the body's fine for the mana cost. This is a great filler card. Additionally, when it enters the battlefield, we may return another target historic permanent we control to its owner's hand. So that is either an artifact, a legendary, or a saga. We return it back to our hand, we can replay it. Sure, there's scenarios you might think, okay, it's on the second lore counter of that saga. We're going to return it back. We're going to play it again, get that whole ball rolling again. Sure. It's not what is it? Flash. It doesn't have flash, so you can't protect your legendary creature, but yeah, you might have some enter the battlefield abilities you could use. Regardless of whether you have that or not, still putting this down on turn 5 at 4/4 is really good.
And you don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it even.
Podic Wanderer, 6 mana, it's a 5/5 artifact creature golem with trample.
Ooh.
It's a tier 2. I think if I see this, anyone can play it. It's a 5/5 for 6, which is already good, and it has trample.
Yeah.
Colorless.
That's your bomb right there.
Yeah. Tier 2.
Yeah, bombs. The fact that it's got that evasion makes it so much better than if it would just be a regular 5/5. Mm-hmm. Cannot be chump blocked in essence.
It's a common.
It's crazy. That's actually really really nice. Those are the commons. Let's have a look at the uncommons. The first of our uncommons is Memorial to Glory. It's a land which taps for white. It comes in tapped, but later in the game we can pay 3 and a white, tapping it and sacrificing it to give us 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So basically, as with all these in the cycle, if you're playing white, just pop it in. Sure, it comes in taps and might slow you down slightly, but the fact that you're not going to have too many of these is inconsequential. Just pop it in, and later in the game, giving those 2 1/1s, that's fine.
And it will be all the same for the rest of the cycle. So the next one is Memorial to Genius. It does the same, but for 4 and a blue, tap, sacrifice Memorial to Genius, and draw 2 cards, which is actually really good. I think this one is like the worst in cycle because of the Djinn that can that there is basic land islands.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't like this one, but still, I mean, okay, so he's got 1 less power. And then you can use it to draw 2 cards
That's
later
actually
game.
really good.
Memorial to Folly, it's the same. This one now gives us black. Instead, still comes in tap though. And then later on, we can pay 2 a black, tap it, and sacrifice it. So and then we're gonna get to return target creature card from our graveyard to your hand. Now, as again, normally we say, okay, we don't know if we got a graveyard thing. We don't know if we're going to be able to get something good out of our graveyard. What's great about this card is it just takes up our land slot. So it doesn't take up one of our spells. If we don't have something, guess what? It's still just a land which taps for a black.
The cost to play this is so low. So the abilities, those are really like a bit worse. It doesn't even matter that much because you're not losing anything.
Yeah, it's like saying it's a land with upside. Yeah.
Memorial to War, and you can pay 4 and a red, tap, sacrifice it, and destroy target land. Okay, this one, you're not gonna use it at all, I think. But like I said before, if you have your greedy opponent you can you can destroy their land to just make their mana screwed.
Yeah.
Color screwed.
Yeah, that's true, because we're also one land out, because we have to sacrifice this one. But yeah, you're right. In that small scenario where they're super greedy, it does work. Memorial to Unity. Comes in tapped again, gives us a green, this one, and then for 2 and a green, tapping and sacrificing it. We're going to look at the top 5 cards out of our library, and then we're going to reveal a creature card from among them and put it into the hand, and the rest at the bottom of our library in any order. So in essence, what's great about this card, of course, it comes in, it's just giving us a green, and then later on in the game, we've got plenty of mana, we don't have many cards anymore, we're looking for our bomb, pay 3, tap this one, sacrifice it, and we can start looking for that really good creature that we can play on the next turn, potentially even maybe that turn.
Exactly. So that was the cycle, all tier 2.
Yeah, all tier 2.
The next one, Zalfirin Void. A land, when it enters the battlefield, squire 1, and you can tap it to add 1 colorless. What's important that it doesn't come in tapped. So also the downside to playing this is also pretty low if you're playing 2 colors. So just play it, you can squire 1 when it enters the battlefield.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Now we move on to Sorcerer's Wand for a single mana. It's an equipment. Equip costs 3. Now, the equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature. To target player or planeswalker. And if this creature is a wizard, it deals 2 damage to that player or planeswalker instead. Now, this I think is not that great, because what you want to be doing with these cards is usually dealing damage to creatures. And this one does not deal damage to creatures. The fact that if you put it on a wizard doesn't make it any more interesting. So I'm going to put this card aside, because you don't want to be using that card slot just to be shooting a little bit of damage to your opponent.
Yeah, that's only sitting there and just pinging 1. I mean, it's 1 unblockable, but is that really what you want to do? Because it costs you 2 cards.
Yeah.
If it was creature, then it would be really good.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a wizard, 2 damage.
Yeah, that would be sweet, yeah.
But like 1 damage would actually warrant to putting in. But yeah, only on players, no, put it aside.
Yeah.
Next one, Shield of the Realm. 2 mana, artifact, equipment. If a sword will do damage to a equipped creature, prevent 2 of that damage. Equip cost 1.
Ooh.
Only 1 mana equip cost. It comes down for 2 mana, and every source, every single time something will damage your creature, you subtract 2 of that, and that's really insane. Put it on only a bigger creature, double blocking won't matter that much anymore. Tier 2, if you see this, just play it, put it on every creature of yours.
It essentially renders your opponent's 2 power creatures or less useless. Because it doesn't matter with how many they block, none of them will do any damage. And that is just crazy. And now all of a sudden also Red's direct damage also does 2 less. That is insane. You put this on a toughness 3 or more creature, and essentially 90% of the Red's removal is not going to be able to hit it and kill it anymore. Crazy, crazy good. It's uncommon. I don't even understand what's happening.
Yeah,
it's great. Dampening Sphere for 2 mana. It's an artifact. If a land tapped for 2 or more mana, it's going to produce 1 colorless mana instead. And each spell that a player casts is going to cost 1 more for each other spell that they already cast previously that turn. So in essence, this is for both sides. So it's a symmetrical effect. So you would need to have a way to gain some kind of advantage out of that, and I don't see that being possible in a normal limited game. So just put this card aside, because this is going to not only going to set you back as much as it's going to set your opponent, also it's going to cost you the mana plus the card.
And we don't have lands that tap for more than 1 anyway, so just it's a really cool constructed card, but limited, no.
Yeah.
Urza's Tome, 2 mana, artifact, 3 mana and tap, draw a card, then discard a card, unless you exile a historic card from your graveyard. So you don't have to discard a card all the time, but for 3 mana, I think that's really steep. So just put it aside, because the first card will only get after 5 mana.
Yeah, that's a bit too steep to be able to get something out of there. Shana Sisei's Legacy for a green and a white. So for 2 mana, we get a 0/0 human warrior, legendary. And this creature can't be the target of abilities your opponents control. So we've never seen this before. It's always been, kind of hexproof, can't be the target of spells or abilities. This one's only the ability, so it can still be the target of spells. So the question is really how relevant is it going to be have hexproof from abilities. But it does get +1/+1 for each creature you control, so that's still filler card, because most likely if you've just got this one and one other creature, it's going to be a 2/2 for 2, and that's already a fine filler card with the potential for later game being much, much stronger. So yeah, fine filler card. If you're already, I think if you're already in blue and if you're already in green and white, I think there's a very good chance that I would include this.
Yeah. Howling Golem, 3 mana, artifact golem, a 2/3, and when Howling Golem attacks or blocks, each player draws a card. So it's a Howling Mine, instead of every upkeep, every draw step, it will do, and it attacks and blocks. So the body on its own, already fine, good filler. Drawing cards is symmetrical, which means you draw cards, but opponents also draw cards. So you have to like try to get more out of it,
which you won't be able to.
No.
So in essence, all it is the body good enough? And yes, for 3 mana, a 2/3, the body's fine, because you can just ignore the symmetrical effect.
Exactly.
Right?
You still have to watch out with it, though. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to watch out with it. Like, don't give your opponents too many cards.
But you're also getting too many cards.
I know, but it also still costs you a card and everything. I think it's still like.
But that's why you got the body.
Yeah, it's still dangerous. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Is there a scenario where you wouldn't include it?
I mean, will I? Well,
I think I'd always include it.
Yeah, that would be a tier 2 though. For me, it's a filler. I wouldn't.
No, I mean no. There's better creatures for 3 mana.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's an auto include in that sense.
No. That's why like.
But there's no deck that I would build where I would think, okay, now the card draw is bad. Another deck that I would build where I say, okay, now the card draw is good.
No, that's true.
Right. All right, next is Rona, Disciple of Gix for 1, a blue and a black. So for 3 mana, we got a 2/2 Human Artificer, so it's a little bit behind on the curve. When it enters the battlefield, we're going to exile target historic card from our graveyard. Okay, you may. All right, let's hope that we've got one. That's a pretty big if, whether we have a historic card in our graveyard, considering that artifacts and sagas are going to be, it's going to be difficult to get those in the graveyard. It's going to take a while. And you may cast non-land card exiled with Rona, so we still need to pay for the mana cost. And then finally, for 4 mana and tapping it, we're going to exile the top card of our library, and then hopefully we can play it. But unfortunately, of course, if it's a land, then we won't be able to play it, which is kind of nasty.
Yeah.
So that's 4 mana is a pretty big investment to have to, gamble to see whether we actually be able to get something, and then we still need to cast it. So, the body's still fine with potential upside. Filler, I don't know, low on the curve. Not too excited about it.
It's a bit too low. It doesn't do much. It takes too much time, too much mana, too much investment.
Yeah, true.
Adelis, the Cinder Wind. One blue and a red. It's a 2/2 legendary human wizard with flying and haste. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, wizard you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So it gives every wizard prowess. For 3 mana, 2/2 flying haste is actually really good.
Yeah.
And the power is also nice. Tier 2, I also want to play this when I'm playing red and blue.
Yeah. It's important to remember it's not exactly prowess because it doesn't have not artifacts or enchantments, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of like prowess. And of course, I'm just happy with having a 2/2 flyer for 3 mana.
Yeah. With haste.
With haste, even better, yeah. Halard, the Fire Fletcher for 1, a red and a green. So for 3 mana, we get a 3/3 with trample. Boom. That's great. I'm very happy. That's already a great filler card right there. And then whenever you cast a spell, if it was kicked, put a 1/1 counter on this guy, and then it deals damage equal to the number of +1/+1 counter on it to each opponent. Okay, actually, this is tier 2, I think, because the trample pushes it slightly over the head. If it would have been 3/3 for 3, then it would have been great filler, but the trample, I think, does bring it into the nice territory. I think the fact that it's got the kicker clause, I think that's incidental.
I think for me, that's also the reason why the trample is so good, because you have the trample, you have a good body, and there are counters on there. You can get counters on there.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And we've seen a lot of the kicker cards are good anyways.
Yeah, you want to be playing those anyway. That's true.
So incidentally, it will grow bigger and bigger, which is the reason for me it also pushes it up.
Yeah, great card.
Next one, Slimefoot the Stowaway. 1 black and a green. It's a legendary 2/3 fungus, and whenever spawning you control dies, Slimefoot the Stowaway deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. And for 4 mana, you create a 1/1 supporting creature. The body already good. The ability, it's really nice that it also supplies its own support links. And for 4 mana, it's not that steep to have a mana sink. And I always like my mana sinks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tier 2 card for me.
Yeah.
It does a lot of things.
Great example of good early, good late. I mean, if it's early, you got a fine body for the 3. Late game, you just start making saplings, 1 or 2 per turn. That's crazy. That's
Exactly.
really good. Icy Manipulator for 4 mana is an artifact that allows us to pay a mana and tap it to tap target artifact, creature, or land. Okay, that is, you may think, oh, this is for 4 mana. This is great because this is, in essence, this is not only removal, but it's removal that actually can change its target to the even better things as the game progresses, and will always be removing the best thing from the battlefield, which is actually better than just having a single removal thing. So I would always include this card. I've played it many times with cards with similar effects, and they always do so much work because always, whenever the best thing comes out, it's like, oh no, I'm going to tap that best thing now. Yeah. Always sets people back a lot. And that 1 mana just in this card is, you can always find a spot for it.
Yeah. And also, you can tap something in the opponent's turn and tap in your turn before attacks. You have 2 things tapped in that in your turn. So that's really nice to get rid of blockers that's annoying.
Yeah.
Joyra's Familiar, 4 mana, it's a 2/2 artifact bird with flying, and historic spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Ability not that relevant, but still 4 mana 2/2, yeah, it's a decent filler.
Yeah. I mean, 4 mana 2/2, you're not too excited about. The incidental discount on a bunch of different stuff is okay.
Yeah.
Then we have a Marinthian Wall for 4 mana. It's a 0/6 defender. Don't like our 0 power defenders. And for 2 mana, it's going to get indestructible. Okay, this is a typical trap card. People may say, yeah, but it's got 6 toughness. We can even make it indestructible. It's going to block for days. But the problem is it doesn't really stop your opponent from attacking because they can still swing in with everything. And this thing is only going to slow down your inevitable death. It can't really get you back into the game. Right?
That is certainly true.
Yeah.
Next one is Juggernaut. For 4 mana, you get a 5/3 artifact creature, Juggernaut. And Juggernaut attacks each combat if able. It's a 5/3. It's a good body, a lot of power. You want to attack with it anyways. And it cannot be blocked by walls. Okay, sure. That doesn't matter. You're not going to play walls anyways. So it's nice because I'm at the team wall that's indestructible. Doesn't matter.
People are not playing that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But the Juggernaut, they will be playing.
Juggernaut, it's a really good filler. 5 power, it's nice for 4 mana.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah.
Wrath, a Compassion Ship's Mage for 2, a white and a blue. So for 4 mana, we get a 3/3 flash with flying. I'm very happy with that. That is really, really good. And you may cast historic spells as though they had flash. Okay, even if that's not relevant, just the fact for 4 mana, 3/3 flyer with flash. You play it in your opponent's turn when they attack with something that's a 2/2 or less. You're going to kill that. Then in your turn, you're attacking with a 3/3 flyer. That turns the game around completely. Tier 2.
Exactly. And also the other historic spell has flash. It's just upside.
Super powerful, yeah.
Alpha the Cursed. 3 white and a black. It's a 3/3 legendary vampire knight with Death Touch and Lifelink. And other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. A 3/3 lifelink at Death Touch, it's already great. And then it pumps up your other legendary creatures even greater, better. So tier 2 for me, I think this will do so much work.
Yeah, I'm always sold when the creature's got Death Touch because it does so much work. It stops your opponents from using their bombs against you, and the lifelink means that it can actually bring you back from the brink of death when you're really low. So I really love that. Tiana, Ship's Caretaker for 3, a red and a white. So for 5 mana, we get a 3/3 flyer first strike. Nice. That's great. Also, whenever an aura or an equipment card you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. So we're not going to be going heavy in auras, and we're not going to be going heavy in equipment, so that one might as well not say anything there, but just the simple fact that it is a 3/3 flyer with first strike warrants its inclusion if you're in those colors, so automatic inclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, tier 2.
It's also nice, like we've seen good auras and equipment, so that's also really nice.
Incidentally, yes. Could we?
Yeah. Tajoya, Benthic Druid, 3, a green and a blue. It's a 3/3 legendary merfolk druid. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. 3/3 for 5, not that great, but all the top decks you get and that are lands, you play it, you get another card and life. That's really good. All your dead draws replace themselves.
If they don't answer this card, because you're not attacking with it, you're just keeping it behind, you're keeping it safe, and as the game progresses, you're going to be getting so much value out of this that it's just going to be absolutely crazy. It's going to push you so far ahead that they won't be able to beat you anymore. So just pop this sucker down and just wait it out and get through the sheer advantage that you're going to be getting in cards.
So much advantage. The incidental life gains also nice.
Yeah. They're gonna have trouble keeping up, Garna, the Blood Flame, for 3, a black and a red. So for 5 mana, we get a 3/3 with flash. And once again, I really like these 3/3s with flash. And for 5 mana, it's actually pretty nicely costed coming in. You're killing that thing that they didn't think you would be able to kill. And then when it enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. Okay, this is actually really cool because this card has got so much versatility. So first, of course, as we described already, when they attack you, you're going to pop it in, kill something. Great. The other way you can do it is when you attack with a bunch of stuff and some of your things died, then you flash it in, and then you're going to get those things back. And also what you can do is play this late game and then play something else. And then also the new thing that came in is also got haste. And then, this one doesn't have haste, but the other thing will have haste. And then you can go and attack with it as a surprise.
Yeah. So tier 2, it's a really good card.
Yeah, those are the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares. The first of our rares is Isolated Chapel. Isolated Chapel is a land that can tap for either white or black, but it will enter untapped if we control a plains or a swamp. So that's pretty sweet. So if we're playing these colors, we've already got a plains or a swamp, then all of a sudden this one doesn't come in tapped, which is, for example, like what a Guildgate would do. So that's really, really strong, really, really nice. Auto included if you are in those colors. Now we've got the rest of the cycles, so we're going to go through those a little bit faster. We also have Sulphur Falls, which is the same, but then for island or mountain. We've got Woodland Cemetery, the same, but for swamp and forest. We've got Clifftop Retreat, which is the same for mountain or plains, and Hinterland Harbor, which is the same, but then for for forest and island.
Yeah, and all tier 2, if you play these colors, auto include, and then you will actually have the lands that you need to have untapped. So that's really nice.
Very strong.
Cabal Stronghold, it's a land that can tap for colorless, but for 3 mana you can tap it and to add a swamp for each basic swamp you control. It has to be a basic swamp, so you will need 5 basic swamps to get anything out of this, and that's just too much. Just put aside.
Yeah, this is never going to be relevant. Then we have Black Blade Reforged for 2 mana. It's a legendary piece of equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Okay. To equip a legendary creature only costs 3 mana, but to equip a regular creature is going to cost 7 mana. So that is pretty high. I think it's a bit too risky. I mean, the benefit is huge, but that's, again, always with these cards that are looking for, like the legendary sorceries, anything that's looking for being able to have lots of legendaries or having a legendary on the battlefield. The benefit is so great, but the problem is what happens when you don't have that legendary. You've paid 2, you've popped this on the battlefield, and now all of a sudden you've got to wait 7 before you can actually equip it onto something, and then maybe you don't have anything good, or they're going to remove that thing as you equip it. I think there's a lot of chances where it won't be, the beautiful magical scenario where you pop this on turn 2, and on turn 3 you can equip it onto your 1 mana flyer that now has +3, so that is a 4/4 flyer. Yeah, that's sure that could happen, but very unlikely.
Exactly. So
there's not even a 1/1 legendary.
That's not 1/1.
No, so it doesn't even work. No, I think it's much more chance that you're not going to get any benefit out of this.
Just put it aside. Forebearer's Blade, it's 3 mana, it's artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has vigilance and trample. That's already really nice. This is sparking my interest. And whenever equipped creature dies, attach Forebearer's Blade to target creature you control. It's only getting better. And equip cost is 3. For 6 mana, casting and equipping it is a bit steep. But then, if you have creatures on the table, it won't change. You don't have to equip it anymore. plus vigilance, trample, 3 power. I mean,
Yeah.
tier 2, I want to play this always.
Worst case scenario, you put it on 2/2. Once again, then you're attacking with a 5/2 with vigilance and trample. That's going to be crazy.
So we will still do stuff when they block it because it's a
trample.
2. Exactly.
Yeah,
and then it will just change to something else.
Even if it dies, yeah.
So then if they attack again, you have a 3 power anything plus 3.
Yeah, plus 3 even, so not even 3.
No.
4 minimum.
On the defense.
Probably 5 on the defense, yeah, if not more. Traxxas Scourge of Krug for 4. It's a 7/7 trampler, so you already know right now there's something up. You know, this deal is too good. If it looks too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
So then don't look at the text anymore.
And yet we must. When this guy enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield tapped, and it doesn't untap during your untap step. Also, you can only untap it whenever you cast a historic spell. Once again, we may have a few, but it's incidentally that might happen. If you pop this out on turn 4, and you have to wait another 4 turns before you can untap it one time, attack with it one time, and then it's shut down again for the rest of the game, I just really don't like that. Put it aside.
Yeah. I think even if it didn't even come in on tap, then you can actually still do a bit with it.
You just keep it as a blocker kind of for a while, attack one time, but this is just terrible.
No, don't play it. Tron Temple Gateway, 4 mana, legendary artifact for 4 and tap. You may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So for 4 mana you can put anything on the battlefield like with flash. Like any historic permanent, but you have to have that historic permanent. It costs you a card, it costs you 4 mana to put down, costs you 4 mana to activate. Just put this aside.
And then that historic permanent needs to be more, it costs more than 4 mana to even be worth the fact that you're doing it like this. So, no. Helm of the Host for 4 mana, it's a legendary artifact equipment with equip cost of 5, so it's pretty steep.
Yeah.
So what it does better be pretty good. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of the equipped creature, except it isn't legendary, and then that creature gains haste as well. So in essence, what's cool is that we pop this down, and then we make sure that it's equipped onto our best creature, and then every turn we could attack for free, essentially, with a version of that creature without putting our actual creature at risk. And if we are in an open position, bam, we can just attack with both of them. And the cool thing is, of course, if the creature is legendary, it wouldn't be a problem because it actually makes sure that the other one isn't legendary. So you can still have 2 copies of even legendary creatures.
Yeah, and every single turn it happens. But the thing is, it's so expensive, and you need to have a pretty decent creature to put it on. And I don't think it's enough. If you have like a really slow game, then it's really good.
Yeah.
In a board stall, it's good. But otherwise, I don't think it will do enough.
Yeah, so the card is very interesting. And I think also in Commander, it's going to be played a lot.
Yeah.
But I think in Limited, the fact that equip cost is so high, I think it's going to be a bit of a risk.
Yeah, if you don't have anything and you try to equip it, they will move it in response, then you just lost a whole turn because you can't do anything in your turn if you just paid the 5 equip cost.
Yeah, true. Grand Warlord Rada for 2, a red and a green. So for 4 mana, we get a 3/4 with haste, so that body's already fine. And whenever 1 or more creatures you control attack, add that much mana in any combination of either red or green to your mana pool, and that mana does not leave your pool as steps and phases end. So you can hoard that mana and keep gaining more and more as turns progress.
It's only until end of turn.
Oh, okay, until
so
end of
you
turn.
can keep it until
in your own turn.
Yeah, second main phase.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. So you can hoard it for your second main phase in either case. It's tier 2, I would say always include. The body's really good. The fact that his haste is nice. When he comes in, you can attack with a bunch of stuff. You got some mana, second main phase. You can still cast some stuff. Nice value.
Yeah, what I actually also like about it, if you have like 3 other creatures and you play this, then you have essentially a free creature.
Yeah, that's true.
So they can still play anything else.
It's not a bad creature at all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Knight of Windgrace, 2, a white and a black. It's a 4/4 legendary human knight. Already good. Vigilance, better. 2 and a white, tap. Create a 2/2 white knight creature with vigilance. Also really good, especially when it's house vision. So you can attack, you can block with it. End of that turn, you can tap it to make a knight. Really nice.
Strong, yeah.
Black, tap. tap X, untap knights you control, destroy target creature with power X or less.
Knight Tribal maybe in Commander?
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't really like these kind of cards normally because you need a lot of knights to use that ability, but this one supplies its own knight. It's a knight itself. Just play it. It will win you the games. It's a whole army on itself. It's a mover on itself.
It's a beater by itself.
Yeah.
It's a blocker as well. Also when it's attacking, if you want it to be... it's crazy. It's crazy.
Play it.
Tier 1, win games, yeah. Joda, Archmage, Eternal for 1, a blue, a red, and a white. So that is pretty steep in the requirements of the costs. It's a 4/3 flyer, though, which is really nice. Power and toughness in the air. And we may pay one of each color rather than paying the mana cost for spells you cast. Okay, that's going to be irrelevant. You're not going to be unless you're Stefan, you're not going to be playing all the colors. So essentially the question is, do we want to pay 4 mana for a 4/3 flyer? Always, yes. But do we want to do so in 3 different colors? And I think that's going to be really difficult. I think it's a trap to pull this card and say, okay, I guess I'm going to try and play all 3 colors. Because first of all, it's going to be you're not going to be able to place on turn 4. It's going to take a while before you have those colors. It's going to be much later, and maybe you could have done something better. You'd have a better card for that late in the game, a much stronger bomb perhaps.
The thing is, for this you have to change how you want to build your deck, because you need to have the extra color, and that's really the trap in this card. And that's why you don't want to encourage that and just put it aside. I mean, I want to encourage that, but David doesn't.
No.
So
Stefan's more about high risk, high reward. I'm more about reliable, consistent results. So I guess that depends on what you like. If you play like the way that Stefan would in this scenario, try and go for those 4. He does get those 3 different colors on turn 4. Yeah, that is an extremely strong play, and that could win him the game. But over the course of a number of games, the question is how many times are you going to be able to pull that off?
Exactly. If you play multiple colors, and this one is really difficult because you need all the colors, and that's what makes it so difficult. It will be so later. You have games where you just don't have that color, or that's why I don't play it.
Yeah. Mishra's Self-Replicator is next for 5 mana. It's a 2/2 assembly worker, and whenever you cast a historic spell, you may pay 1, and then you may make a copy of this card. We're going to put that card aside because for 5 mana, 2/2 is just unacceptable. And later on, incidentally, being able to get another 2/2 for 1 mana is just not good enough. So we're going to put that card aside.
Next one is Gilded Lotus. For 5 mana, artifact, tap to add 3 mana of any one color. It's 5 mana, it's so late in the game, but still 3 mana of any color, it will do so much work, because even if you're greedy, you have all the colors. But even without, it's still such a significant boost. And that means you can play so many cards in one turn, which is really important.
Yeah.
That's why tier 2, I think you always want to play this.
It is simply such a great advantage. It's not a single ramp card like we've seen in the past. This one's such an incredible boost that it warrants the inclusion. Oath of Teferi is next for 3, a white and a blue. So for 5 mana, it's a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, we're going to exile another target permanent we control and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So we're going to blink something, we're going to come back, so we get another enter the battlefield ability effect trigger. And you may activate loyalty abilities you control of planeswalkers you control twice each turn rather than only once. Okay, you're not going to have big chance you're not going to have a planeswalker, and even if you would have it in your deck, the chance that they're there at the same time is very small. So is it enough for 5 mana to just blink something one time, not even flash, with splash speed? I would say no, put it aside.
Put it aside. So the last rare is Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. That sounds really cool. 5 mana, white and a black. It's a legendary sorcery, and you return all legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, which is really splashy, really cool, but you need to have a lot of legendary permanents in your graveyard also, else you're not doing anything.
And 1 on the battlefield at least.
And 1 on the battlefield, so I
and
think
7 mana.
Yeah. So, I mean, we assume to get 7 mana at one point.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know.
You don't want to play it.
No,
I
it's
mean,
too
you
risky.
want to play it, but not in limited.
Yeah, that's more of a commander card as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at the mythics.
Our first mythic is Mox Amber. 0 mana, legendary artifact, and can tap to add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. It's nice, it's cheap, it's free mana ramp, but you need to have a legendary thing already, and we're trying to ramp to that legendary creature. So if we only use it after that, then it's useless. So put aside.
Yeah, agreed. Karn, Scion of Urza. For 4 mana, we get a 5 loyalty planeswalker with his +1, allowing us to reveal the top card of our library, and then our opponent chooses one of those cards which we put into our hand, and we're going to exile the other one with a silver counter on it. So already that's, I don't really like it that much, because we're giving our opponent the choice, and they're always going to choose whatever's worse for us. So that other card is going to get exiled with a silver counter on it. The -1 ability is to put a card we own with a silver counter on it from exile back into our hand. So that allows us to get that better card back, but we do got to do it on another turn. And removing 1 loyalty counter from this planeswalker. And then finally, -2, we're going to create a 0/0 colorless artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact we control. Okay, if you're going heavy in artifacts, which you shouldn't be, then it would be good. And in essence, by itself, it's already going to be a 1/1. But you're -2ing to get a 1/1, and then you're going to -2 again to get 2/2/2. So in essence, you could get, an army out there, but you can't really do it more than twice. So then we got to do it we got to do the +1s a couple of times. As far as planeswalkers is concerned, normally again, there's always tier 1. This one, tier 2. You can probably include it, but
yeah, I mean, drawing cards always good, and there's also still a way to get that other card back. But it's just really slow because the card that you want is just exiled, and you have to get it with the second activation of Karn. The -2, there are some really good artifact creatures actually still in the set, but I don't think it will pushes it tier 1, because on its own it doesn't do anything, and that's what's important of the card we evaluate. On its own, without the other things, it's not doing enough.
Yeah, usually the tier 1 cards are reserved for cards that can win the game by themselves.
Yeah,
and this one cannot do that.
I mean, it's still a tier 2 card,
It's
because
still
it still
very good,
draws your card, it still makes creatures, so it still does a lot.
Yeah, but you're right, just it won't win you the game by itself.
Weatherlight, 4 mana, it's a legendary artifact vehicle, it's a 4/5 with flying. Whenever Weatherlight deals combat damage to a player, look the top 5 cards of your library. You will reveal a historic card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and has crew 3. For the body, it's insane. And attacking it, getting an extra card potentially is even better. Tier 2, I always want to play this.
Yeah, even if you do not play a lot of artifacts, legendaries, and sagas, so even if you can't guarantee that draw, but I mean, if you do play a couple, 5, looking through 5 cards is pretty substantial. But let's say you don't get anything, still being able to have your 3-powered creatures or your 2-powered creatures and your 1-powered creatures crewing this thing, and then bam, 5/4 in the air is going to be nigh unstoppable. It's because it win games just beating face.
Exactly, just already really good on its own, and it's just upside.
Yeah, for the evasion, great. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain for 2, a blue and a red. So we've got, for 4 mana, you got a 3/3, so the body's fine already for the converted mana cost. Then whenever you cast a historic spell, you draw a card. Okay, now we've seen already the little bird that has a scry 1 whenever we play a historic spell. That one we didn't want to include. This one is a filler card, though, because of the body and the incidental time when you might draw a card one time. I think that's fine. Don't think I would play blue and red if I would draw this, but if I'm already in blue and red, then I think I would use it as a filler card.
Yeah, it's a good card. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, 3, a white and a blue. It's a 4 mana. It's a
for loyalty.
For loyalty, planeswalker, and +1 draw card at the beginning of your next end step. Untap 2 lands. That's already pretty good. Drawing card, untapping 2 lands. -3, put target non-land permanent into its owner library, third from the top, which means it will take 3 turns before they draw it, and it's removal. -8, you get an emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent an opponent controls.
This wins games by itself. Yeah.
It's removal, it draws you cards, it taps you land, it's even more removal when you draw cards, which you want to do. And it's in blue, so you draw cards anyways. Tier 1.
Yeah.
It is so much better than the other planeswalkers we've seen.
Sick. I mean,
So
it's maybe
much.
just only 1 mana more expensive, but it is substantial. This needs to be answered, or you're going to be going so far ahead of your opponent.
Yeah.
Then we go to Muldrotha, the Gravetide, for 3, a black, a green, and a blue. So for 6 mana, we got a 6/6 legendary elemental avatar. So the body's already fine for the mana. However, of course, it is in those 3 colors, which means we really have to be watching out with that. Additionally, during each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. Okay, so this is insane. First of all, in Commander, it's crazy, but let's say in Limited, you do want to see if you can include this and play in these colors, because so much later in the game, like at turn 6, there is a better chance that you have these 3 colors versus, for example, having it on turn 4, which is with the other one. The body is super big. This is your bomb as well. And additionally, even if stuff died in the turns before, now every single turn you're going to be able to get 1 or maybe even multiple things cast from your graveyard, which means that they need to answer this or it's game over.
Yeah, and even if you don't have many great things, even just playing a 2/2 back is just actually pretty okay. It just does. The thing is, like we say, 3 colors, it's pretty iffy. That's why we don't want to encourage this. That's why it's tier 2.
Yes. Very, very strong, though.
It is very strong.
Very strong, yeah.
Dariga's Reincarnated is where we end, and it's such a good card. But for 4 black, a red, and a green, also 3 colors, it's a 7/7 legendary dragon. It has flying, it has trample, it has haste. If he would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of upkeep, if Dariga's is exiled with an egg counter on it, remove an egg counter from it. Then if Dariga's has no egg counters from it, return it to the battlefield. Which means if it exiled, it doesn't come back, but if it just normally dies, it will always come back. I think for this is where we say, you know what, this is where you want to put it in tier 3. This is why you try to play all the 3 colors, because it's so good, it can't get rid of it. It's so freaking big.
Yeah. It's got trample as well. It's got
got
the evasion. When it comes in
haste.
on that turn, it's 3 turns, but on the turn that it comes in, you can attack with it right away.
Yeah.
So that's insane, actually.
And also 7 mana, like we say before, like 7 mana is actually reasonable to get.
Yeah.
8 mana is pretty difficult. This is only 7 mana.
Yeah. For I win the game, that's okay.
That's okay?
Yeah. That's okay to try and go for these 3 colors.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
It's insane. Tier
But
1.
still remember that you do need to build your deck a little bit around this.
You do have to.
Yeah. But it's worth it.
It is so worth it. It's such a good card to end this with.
Absolutely. That's great. That's the last of the mythics. Let's have a look at the conclusion. In conclusion, I am actually really pleasantly surprised by the quality of the artifacts in this set. The equipment, the common, uncommon equipment is great. There's some solid equipment in there. There's some solid low-costed creatures that don't require any colors, which is insane. Usually, if you're gonna get a 5/5 trampler, you're paying 8 mana for that at least, and now everything is so much cheaper, so much more reasonably costed. So all the colors have access to decent fillers, which I'm very happy about. So, and again, the artifacts as well is cool. It actually gives you a little bit of flexibility to try out those artifacts in your limited decks this time, because they do a lot of work. And finally, the multicolored cards, as usual, this is no surprise. They are usually all much stronger than their equally costed, converted mana costed counterparts. Why? Because you require multiple colors. The ones that require 2 colors, almost all of them are auto-includes if you're going to be going into those 2 colors. And the last 2, which we just saw, which require 3 colors, I think warrants an inclusion as well, because they're just simply so insane.
So good. Yeah, like you say before, normally also assume the artifact creatures to be a bit worse, but you know what? Every deck can play it, so it's a decent filler. These artifact creatures are good. They are really good. Even if they were like green creatures, they can compete with those. It's just insane. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are all the cards in Dominaria.
Yeah.
So tell us what you think about these cards. What are you looking forward to your pre-release? Let us know what you're looking forward to building. What cards are you hoping to pull? And also would like to remind you guys now that you can head on over to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks. If you like these reviews, you want to help us make more, head on over there. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and we'd really appreciate it. Also join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to talk to us, you want to have discussions about these cards, you want to talk about the sets, send us pictures of your pre-release, of how you did, what cards you pulled. We're really curious to see how everybody does. I'm very excited about this set. I don't know about you, Stefan.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be super awesome. So please join us on the socials and let us know what you're doing, what you pulled, what you played. Also subscribe to us here on YouTube for the most powerful decks and advice everyone can afford. And if you do, don't forget to hit the little bell button so you get notified when new videos come out. I guess that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And this was Budget MTG Decks.